I'm back on the Matrix, and I'm gonna be doing something that I've never done before. So let's hop right in and let's try to figure this out and see if I can do this. Alright, so I got the car on jack stands, and you're probably wondering, what are you talking about that you've never done before? I've actually never bled brakes before. So I bought this .3 fluid. The reason why I'm bleeding the brakes anyways on this car is because when I changed the ABS module up front, that you guys actually never got to see because the footage got ruined. But when I changed out this ABS module right here, you have to disconnect all the brake lines, and a bunch of fluid came out, and I let a bunch of air into the lines. So I don't know how bad the brake fluid is on this car, but I bought this little tiny thing. A lot of people said in the reviews that it's very tiny, but it works great. So this is a little self bleeder and a bunch of fluid. So I don't know how much fluid I'm going to need, but I'm going to start and bleed it. So I believe from what I have read, a lot of times they tell you to start from the farthest side. So I believe that would be that side, and then work your way closer to the reservoir. So I think this side is the farthest, so I'm gonna start here, that one, the passenger front, and then the driver one, and then hopefully everything works good. I'm gonna go through my experience, tell you how well or bad this works, and let you know if it's easy or not. I got the wheel off, and I'm pretty sure it's really hard to tell. It's not the best lit over here, but pretty sure this is my bleeder screw. So we got all these little things, so we gotta try to attach this to the bleeder screw and go from there. Alright, well, as you can see, I'm leaking out a lot of brake fluid right here. That is because I took out the bleeder screw. I was trying to bleed this side first, and I had no luck, and I thought I was doing something wrong. But then I went over to the other side, and I tried to bleed it, and it bled perfectly fine. And so, doing a little bit more research, they're saying that most likely this is just clogged, and you can see all the stuff just coming out on my finger. So what I'm gonna do is just take like a paper clip, just kind of feed it into the holes here, try to clean out everything, and make sure, I know on camera you're definitely not going to be able to see it, but make sure you can see the paper clip or whatever you're pushing down here into that other hole. So yeah, because when I first originally tried to do this, I could not see a hole at all, and so I just wiped it really good with a rag, and I found the hole, and I think this should fix the problem. So hopefully I don't need to buy a new bleeder screw, and just cleaning this up and bleeding it out really good will fix it. Alright, I'm gonna screw this one back in, and then we'll try to bleed this again, and hopefully this time it'll work. But luckily the bleeder screws were not tight at all, so that's a good thing. They weren't stuck. I read a lot of the bleeder screw getting stuck, so, and people having to like drill that out and get new ones. So now I'm gonna hook this cap back up to here, because every time that I was trying to bleed the brakes, nothing was coming through the tube, and I kept seeing stuff dripping from the behind the calipers. So now I'm gonna try to do it again, and let's see if the fluid works. So make sure this is tight, and if you have someone else, it makes this job a lot easier. Can you press the pedal now? Press it 3 times and hold it. Alright, let's crack it. Okay. Oh yeah, you can see the fluid in this one looks really disgusting and black. And you can see air bubbles coming through here. So there was air trapped in the lines. Alright, so here's the color of the fluid out of this first brake caliper. And it looks pretty brown to me. So it's a good thing that I'm bleeding these, because I don't know how good the brake fluid really was to begin with. But especially with that caliper, that one being clogged. So there was junk getting in there. But now that I got this, all the air bubbles seem to be out of this one. I'm going to hop over to the other one. Hopping on the driver front, this is the order they tell you to do it. They say to do the passenger rear, driver front, driver rear, passenger front. So I'm just following that order. That's what they recommend for a front wheel drive car. So that's what I'm going to do. So I have this all hooked up to the bleeder screw in the back. All right, so now I'm bleeding the driver front. So here's my little thing. And I cracked that loose, and I'm going to press the brake pedal a couple times. Alright, so my bottle's pretty much full. I'm going to tighten this up. And I can see lots of little air bubbles popping in here, so. So I'm going to dump this out, do it again. And I don't know if it's just me, but this does seem to be a pretty messy job. Maybe if you had a bigger bottle where you didn't have to keep emptying it, might be a little better. But let's pump the brakes again. So the fluid up front doesn't look as bad as the stuff in the back did, but I'm just going to bleed it a little bit more. Alright, so the fluid's looking pretty clear, and I don't see any air bubbles. So I'd say this one's good. Alright, and something I completely forgot to tell you guys that I've been doing, making sure the brake reservoir is topped off pretty good. So I mean, and don't be afraid to you can overfill this, because you're gonna lose fluid. So I pretty much have it a little bit over the max. What's weird is the front ones are at 8mm and the back ones are 10mm. I don't know if that's normal or if that's just me, but that's how mine are. Alright, so this one looked like it had a lot of air in it, so. Alright, so I want to hop in the car and just double check that you got a very firm pedal, which I do, so, which is good. That means there should be no air in the line. So alright, I'm gonna put all my wheels back on, lower this, and then we'll just take this for a test drive real quick. Alright guys, so I just pulled the car out and the brakes are like actually really sensitive, so I'm assuming I did it correctly. So, I mean, before, like, after I had changed out that ABS module, it would just fall to the floor pretty much. It would stop the car, but it would not stop, like, easily. So, having this now, it feels like you're in a brand new car. So, definitely, I mean, it's definitely worth learning how to do this because I mean, I think the brake fluid cost me like 15 bucks and that other bleeder kit cost me, I think, like another 15 or something like that. So like all in all, $30 to do a brake flush and probably like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to do it. So, I mean, that would probably take you just as long to do that at the dealership. So I'm just gonna go take this car for a test drive because I haven't driven it in like a few weeks. So I'm just gonna go hit lift a few times and see how this goes. Alright guys, so just got the thing back from a test drive and the brakes are working perfect. So everything's looking good on this. I hit lift, everything's driving good. Now, probably next thing, I do have scheduled maintenance to go to, I don't want to say scheduled maintenance, but I have some schedule to go to the Toyota dealership to get the airbag recalls because there's 2 of them on this car. So I just want to get that taken care of. It's free, so I'm just going to drop it off and that should be simple. But I think now, next thing we're going to start working on, everything on this engine is good. So all the seals, coolant, oil, everything. I have not changed the oil since I've owned this car. So I have added oil, but I've never changed it. So that's something that's going to be coming in the future, is trying to get this engine, because like I said, over here it is leaking really badly. I'm pretty sure it's the timing chain cover, which is very common on these. So, and I also think I have an exhaust leak because this car sounds kind of loud for like absolutely no reason. So I think that there's some type of exhaust leak by like the header area. So gonna have to probably investigate that. But from the looks of it, you have to take your headers off anyways in order to do your chain, your side cover over here. So, but yeah, I mean, everything's seeming pretty good so far. So, but with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.